A new trend is sweeping the UK. It's called roasting. It takes place online, and a lot of people are saying that this is just a new form of cyberbullying. This typically is happening among teenage girls who are creating private chat rooms to roast other teenage boys. Quote from the Newsweek.com says, roasting is done under the guise of good humor, which is why it is so dangerous because it is often done among friends. So these bullies or girls or however we're going to talk about it later, they often create memes and their images or just short videos that are designed to be shared about an individual person. And this person is locked out of these websites or these chat rooms, so it's kind of a bunch of people talking about them behind their back.
Just what you're afraid of is happening.
Yes. So this also comes as kind of a serious thing that is going on in the UK, but also really all across the world. We should remind everyone that both boys and girls have been killing themselves as a result of cyberbullying. But especially on DoSomething.com, they're talking about that girls are twice as likely as boys to be both victims and perpetrators of cyberbullying because boys tend to engage in more physical bullying. So there are two articles, one from Newsweek, one from telegraph.uk. And I just want to talk about this a little bit with you, Brett, because I have seen roasting as an online trend, and especially as a comic, I really do not like it because I love roasting and roast battles, and that is a great form of comedy. And this is not it.
I'm glad you said it that way because I was afraid you were going to say, I want to talk with you about this, Brett, because you seem like the kind of kid who got bullied because it's just so obvious.
No, it's not.
No, I get it. Because roasting is a specific thing that comedians do where you write jokes that are meant to be, bring people down, but you don't really mean it because you love the person.
Well, you always say you only roast the ones you love. And it seems that a lot of what these two articles are talking about with regards to online roasting is people are roasting others that they really do not like.
Yeah, you can't call it roasting if it's really just being shitty.
Yeah.
That's the problem. Like, it's just bullying. You can't call it roasting. You're trying to put lipstick on a pig, and that dog won't hunt.
Because it's a pig.
Because it's a fucking pig. No, this is not right. It's the same kind of thing that where people think they're being funny by just saying the racist and the most racist or just the worst, most inappropriate thing.
Yeah.
And they think that's funny because it's shocking, but you run it by someone who does comedy for a living and they'll say, that's not a joke. It's not funny. You're only laughing to make yourself feel better than the other people. And I'm sure if you look around rooms like that, you'll notice that a lot of people are just laughing so that they won't be the person who's the brunt of the joke, so that they'll fit in. And that's pretty much the essence of bullying right there.
And another thing about this too, why roasting really has sort of devolved online into just cyberbullying, is that the person that you're talking about is cut out of these chat rooms, or this is taking place behind someone's back. It's not someone that's in on the joke. When you roast someone, especially
Justin Bieber, perhaps.
For example, they would never host the roast of Justin Bieber without Justin there, because that would just be talking shit about Justin Bieber. But when they did it, they brought him in.
Late night hosts hold a roast about every politician every night.
But they don't call it a roast. That's just a monologue.
Right, that's just the monologue.
But when you but that's what I mean. Like when you when it's roast form comedy, there's a dais. They have basically that just means that there's like a panel of people and everyone is in on the joke. And the reason why I feel that it's cyberbullying is because one person is not in on the joke and one person is the butt of the joke.
Yeah.
And that is why it feels wrong. And also, another thing I would like to point out, it seems like a lot of effort is going into this stuff too. They're creating videos, images, memes. That's a lot of effort to make someone feel bad.
Yeah.
I didn't have that much time in high school.
Yeah, but they're so good at it. Children
they're so much faster these days.
There's a John Mulaney joke where he's like, 14-year-old kids they're the best at it because they get right to the heart of what you yourself are afraid of. Like, his joke is like, there's that man with those high feminine hips.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's the thing about me that I hate. Yeah. And it's true. It's so true because I was on a basketball team when I was in high school, and we would just take turns. It would go around the team, and everyone you're practicing basketball, but when you're in high school, you're also practicing how to be the meanest person in the world and make the other people that even in your friend group, feel like shit.
Yep.
and almost cross the line, and sometimes you do. And I know I was definitely on the receiving end of a lot of that stuff, and you think it's all in good fun until it gets to something where you're just like, oh my God, why do I feel so bad?
And it stems from all the insecurity that you deal with as just a natural part of growing up,
Yeah.
you know, and just figuring out who you are and becoming comfortable with yourself, which is no small task. It's super difficult. And I think sometimes it can be easy to put aside what you're dealing with and just focus on something else, because it's easier to be mean than it is to really look inside about who you are.
Yeah, I feel like groups of friends go through this, portion of their development.
Right,
And it's so unfortunate, and you just gotta not. You just have to not do this.
But
kind of
also to that degree, and something that I will take issue with what some of the anti-bullying people were saying is that, yeah, you bring up a good point. Kids are mean, and you kind of have to go through that a little bit, experience it a little bit in order to know that it's wrong. You know what I mean?
I mean,
to a degree,
I
I don't.
don't
You don't
want
have
people
to,
to
but
think
I mean,
that here's an excuse for my terrible behavior. It's just a phase I'm going through right now. Sometimes you end up doing. I know when I was in 6th grade, I was very mean for like 3 weeks, and I don't even remember why I was mean. I just thought this was the time to be mean, and I was. And I look back on that era, and I just feel like total shit about it.
Right, but like I remember, for example, I made a joke about a friend of mine, one of my best friends, about her. I said that she had like a mustache or something like that. It was a very bad, stupid joke. I thought it was really funny. It really hurt her feelings. And I said this joke in front of a couple of her other friends. I repeated it basically.
And
she
piece of shit.
and it was
Grace.
really, but it was really mean, but I didn't realize it was mean. And I think that a big part of middle school and high school is crossing that line, that boundary, thinking something's funny, and thinking that it's about you, and you're very selfish at that age. I mean, kind of as humans, we're all a little bit intrinsically selfish. In any case, having someone call you out on that, be like, "Hey, don't do that. That's mean," and then learning from that.
Yeah.
So I think that just to be like, kids are not allowed to make memes, like, because to an extent there is a little bit of creativity here, but just use it in a responsible way. And this stuff is mean, but also I don't know that people learn best from just having these, anti-bullying sites just blocking stuff and shutting stuff down. Sometimes it works better when you have interpersonal relationships of someone being like, hey, that hurt my feelings. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Having a peer mediator sort of thing.
Sister Noreen stopped me from being a dick.
What?
She was like, Brett.
Oh.
I went to a Catholic school.
I was gonna be like,
and
your
she was like,
sister?
Sister Noreen. She was
Yeah.
like, Brett, I don't like that. I think she said like, I saw the devil in you or something.
Really?
And I was like, oh, am I being mean?
Yeah.
I am being mean.
Yeah.
I apologize. I didn't like that at all. But
I just mean that like it's normal for kids to be especially
look
mean.
at dogs. Look at dogs. They play fight. All mammals do this weird sparring thing.
Yeah.
And I know my group of like really close friends when we were in high school, who are still really close today, like we debated like stupid facts about the world and had those arguments. And that was always trying to place who was where on the totem pole.
Yeah.
I'd rather have our group use that kind of thing to kind of establish status and who's right and who's wrong. And we all got stronger at like skills, like debating ideas.
Yeah.
But if what you're doing to establish who's where in the pecking order is based on tearing each other's personalities down and making other people feel like crap, like that's the worst. And the fact is that it's the worst because everyone knows that those who bully have been bullied. And we just, and we see it. There was that one Facebook Live of the mom who takes her daughter's Facebook feed over and beats the shit out of her.
Yeah.
And like you just watch that mom beat the crap out of the idea of her mom and all her mistakes, and you're passing it along. It sucks, and it's really hard if you've been on the receiving end of whatever negative feelings or communications or, God forbid, physical violence. But you just have to stop it and not pass it on to other people.
Yeah, I think it's all about checking in with intention and, choosing compassion.
Did you
over...
ever find the right way to stop bullies from being bullies? Like, have you ever had success? What happened? Did you ever get bullied?
No, I never really got bullied, but
So good at basketball? Was that it?
No, I think it's just, I definitely wasn't. I think it was more, I was just friends with everyone. It's always, my thing is always, I really care about what people think about me and liking me. Really, honestly, and in high school I was so insecure that I would, whoever I needed to be to a certain group in the school, I would do that, as for them to think, if I needed to be funny, if I needed to be, totally, non-threatening and silent, seriously. So I wasn't ever bullied, but I know what it's like to get your feelings hurt, and
Right.
I think that the way that my friend handled it when I made fun of her was the best possible way of saying, you're not a bad person for making this joke and for repeating it. It doesn't make you a bad person. It was mean, though, and I still want to be your friend.
Right.
We're still friends, but it was mean, and I need you to know why it was mean and why it hurt my feelings. And just connecting with people on a personal level, and just explaining that feelings are never right or wrong. They just are, and you have to acknowledge them. That to me helped.
Right. I don't know. Everyone says feelings are neither right or wrong. You have to acknowledge them. I think that's kind of misleading because sometimes you have a feeling,
Yeah.
and if you sat there and thought about it for a second, you realize that you have the feeling, can't do anything about that, except if you thought it through, you can realize, oh my God, I'm looking at this all wrong.
Right.
And here, if I change the way I'm looking at it, I won't have to feel that way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I can get over it that way. That's most psychiatrists are like, here's how you're looking at it. I know you feel bad, and if I don't want to validate and incentivize you to keep feeling shitty stuff by validating everything, but if we look at it a different way, you can reevaluate how you respond to it, and that can make you feel
changing your
better.
perception of any given situation.
But a lot of it is I always know that if you stand up to a bully, people say stand up to a bully, then the bully ends up being a coward.
Right.
The thing is, that's a risk because they might not be a coward. They may just hit you in the face.
Yeah.
And another argument is to just ignore it and just move on and don't validate it with the response. And that can be really hard, but those are two different ways to go about it. Try ignoring it for as long as you can, I think.
Yeah, one of my favorite stories about that is that when my girlfriend was in high school, she was outed. And I've asked her about it, that must have been so scary in high school.
Yikes.
It was the only girl I think that she knew at the time that was outed. And it was a rumor, and it really, at that point in time, she wasn't really totally secure with who she was. I think, you're young. She thinks she was maybe 15, 16. And I asked her, I was like, so how did you deal with all these rumors going around about you? And people were kind of leveraging it as not like, she's a dyke, but it was a rumor to make her feel bad so that they could talk about something else, not their insecurities.
Right.
And so I asked her, how did you deal with that? And she's like, I just didn't, it was true. I wasn't gonna deny it. I just didn't really address it, and I kept to myself.
Yikes.
And I was like, for me, that was so adorable. You have this rumor that's life-changing that is being spread about you, but it's true. I would have denied it. I totally would have denied it if they were like, we hear that Grace is a lesbian. I would have been like, what?
No.
No! And she was just like,
Give me a boy.
Yeah, so
Give me a boy right now.
Yeah,
Bring a
I'll
boy
make out
over
with a boy
here.
right now.
I'll laugh at his penis.
guys, high school is hard. Bullies suck. But let us know in the comment section below, how do you deal with bullying in person, cyberbullying? What are some tools that you've learned? Don't forget to subscribe. This is Brett. I'm Grace. We'll see you next time on Pop Trigger.